Alright guys, I'm going to show you if the MIG-23MF is worth the grind. This is the German MIG-23 flogger, and it's pretty decent. Now, it comes with the R60MKs, which are basically the same as the R60Ms. I don't know why Gaijin changed this, but they did, so they're exactly the same. Now, its best tactic is going to be head-oning targets and rate fights. This thing does come with the R60Ms, and if you did not know, the R60Ms/MKs, because they're the same missile, have frontal aspect lock, which is absolutely amazing. They're also pretty maneuverable at lower speeds, but, you know, they get the job done. But at the end of the day, the R60s are a very controversial missile. I mean, this missile hit a F-117 and didn't kill it in real life, so, I mean, they're very small, but, I mean, it's a missile. Once they connect, it's going to damage your opponent to where they're likely not going to want to dogfight anymore, of course, unless it's an F5. Those things have a damage model of a tank, because that's how history historically had them. But, you know, the MiG-23 is extremely good. Now, I wouldn't say it's the best aircraft in the game. Perhaps the MLD or the Viggen would take that spot. But this is definitely, I would say, the best top-tier aircraft that you could get for free currently, because this is an event vehicle. So if you grind the event, you'll have this thing for free. And it's basically pretty good. It's high up the food chain, indeed. It has R60s, R23Rs, R23Ts, but I just always take the 6 R60s because, well, they're a frontal aspect and they do a pretty good job. I do not think the R23s are really worth it unless you have R24s on the MLD. Those are pretty good, but the R23, it just doesn't cut it. So I would say if you're playing RB or even Sim, just go with the R60MKs. They'll get the job done. I mean, their frontal aspect, you know, what else could you want? This thing's also pretty fast too, so I highly suggest when you're firing these R60s that you get to a pretty high speed so the missile can be lofted at higher speeds and hit its target, because the R60s do indeed lack range, which, you know, it's not too bad. I mean, these are more of a maneuver missile anyway, or dogfight missile. But needless to say, you're going to want to be going fast when you lob these things off. Also, this thing does have a GUSH-23, like the other floggers, which is very, very handy when you just paint over your targets. Personally, I'm not a fan of the GUSH-23, but I have managed to get a couple kills with it. So even someone who's bad with the GUSH-23 will do pretty well with this aircraft, painting over your targets. And you're still going to get a ton of kills with the R60Ms, because you just launch them in a head-on, and if you're close enough, they'll hit. Now this guy, funny enough, I managed to cut his wing off with the jet. So if you run out of ammo and you run out of options, just fold your wings out and slice their elevators off, or slice their vertical stabilizer off. That is a very, very valid solution to your problems. Now, another thing with this aircraft is it comes with IRST and a pulse Doppler. Now, its pulse Doppler or look down, shoot down isn't the best, because whenever you go and turn it on, the IFF signature turns off. So in Sim, you don't know who the hell you're shooting, and typically I will not use the look down, shoot down in Sim. But if I'm flying in RB, I'll have it on all the time, and sometimes I won't. But RB doesn't matter, because it's very easy to ID your target since they're red and blue. So yeah, pretty cool. Now, this aircraft is actually pretty good when you use correct tactics with it. I like to go on the side of the map and wait till the furball starts, and then head in, lob some R60s at people who are unsuspected of any missiles, and I like to just zoom in through the map. Basically, just boom and zoom, and you should be fine. If you bring the R23R, well, you're pretty much screwed. I would never do that. I would personally just bring the R23T. If you're going to bring an R23, do not touch the R23R, because, well, it's going to get you killed and it misses a lot. The R24R is a whole lot better, and that's on the MLD. For this aircraft, I highly suggest just bringing the R60MKs or bringing the R23T. Now, the R60MKs, as I said before, do have a pretty decent range. They're not the best, but you can see here that dude was flaring and it still managed to hit him, and that's an R60. That's pretty good. Now, I'm not sure if these have better track than the R60Ms. Currently, I can't view those stats, and as of now, it says the stats are exactly the same as the R60M, which wasn't the case when these were first added or when they're in the dev server. So I'm gonna bet that they have a better seeker head, or maybe they just ignore flares a little better. I'm not sure. If you do know, though, comment down below, because I am very eager to know whether these are any different, but as of now, currently, I can't see any indication saying they are. Needless to say, an R60 is an R60, so you kind of know what to expect. And you could see that the evasive flying of this aircraft is actually pretty decent. There's an F5 just sticking on my 6, and luckily Thorium Plays, go check out his YouTube, is, helping me out a little bit, because this guy's starting to get real close. He hits my wing, and I just outroll him, and he overshoots while Thorium goes and kills him. In hindsight, I probably should have just went for the rate fight, because the MiG-23MF could actually rate fight extremely well if you have the wings fully forward, or 0%, I believe. So once you put them 0%, you could just swap them up and go for the rate fight and easily outrate your enemies, even the F5 and the F5C. Now, another cool thing about this aircraft is to maneuver your missile under the belly to know which one fires first, so that when you're in a head-on, it doesn't have to maneuver that much, and it increases the chances of the kills. So basically, sort of aim your R60 under the belly towards your target, and they'll typically hit them in the head-on. But overall, I do think this jet is worth the grind. If you are grinding or thinking about buying this in the marketplace after it is released, I highly suggest getting your hands on it, because this thing is really, really good, especially for an aircraft that's free, and you get it at top tier. So needless to say, this thing's going to be grinding your tech tree, unlike the F4F, which lacks flares and aim 7s, and is overall a pretty bad jet, especially for what the grind was. But this jet, I would say it's actually worth the grind. Even though you only get 12 flares, this thing feels like a carbon copy of the MiG-23M, which is pretty insane, because Gaijin is starting to give away top tiers that are equivalent to their actual top tiers. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting some more modern aircraft in the future, especially if Gaijin's giving away free aircraft like this. Perhaps an F-14 Tom Dog? Maybe. Perhaps in theory, theoretically, maybe. Anyway, guys, overall, yes, go get this jet. Farm it, buy it, or whatever. If it's cheap, go get it. I would not spend over $100 for this thing, though. But if it's cheap on the marketplace, go get it and have fun.